Have you ever had that moment where you finally get that space to rest, but instead of peace, chill, calm, it kind of feels like panic? Like your whole body just was like resisting the stillness? Honestly, I used to think I just wasn't good at relaxing. But what I didn't realize is that there was a reason why stillness felt so unsafe. Well, there's actually a scientific reason why stillness can feel so unsafe. And if you stick around, I'll tell you what it is. I've helped hundreds of people sit with discomfort through breathwork and healing, and I've been through it myself. My darling, if rest feels hard, there's a reason, and it's not because you're doing life wrong. I just think about a time when I was living in Wollongong and I had just finished a gym session. I was in the midst of a fitness journey. I was doing like a fitness challenge, and I would often finish my walks or finish my day in the gym session with a walk via the beach on my way back to my house. And this one day I'd finished my gym session and I'm walking by the beach front and like staring at these waves, and my phone just dies. And I'm like, oh man, I found myself staring at these waves, sort of like lost in them crashing in. It was a little bit like rainy, like spittingy kind of rain. So it wasn't super cold, but I'm staring there at these waves and it was a little bit choppy, and I'm just like really feeling that like thick crashing energy, and I've literally just stopped there and done nothing, staring at these waves. And I remember thinking to myself, I probably should just keep walking, right? Like I've got nothing to listen to. And then as I'm like thinking and staring at the waves, like the thoughts of just like the previous days and the previous few weeks events had come through, and I remember like dwelling on these moments, and they're particularly moments that happened in my workplace. And I'm standing there. I couldn't actually figure out why people were being really weird to me. No one was being outright horrible, but there was so much attitude and like underlying resentment and, like people just not being, I guess, welcoming. And I'm like the new kid, I'd been there a few months, and I'm just like, honestly, what is going on? I just couldn't quite put my finger on why it was such a weird place. And it just like, I knew that I was there. I had to be there. I was almost stuck in this environment for X amount of time, and I couldn't leave. So it was like, okay, well, I just got to really like continue on. And I just still just had no idea what was going on. I felt like I was in this cage, like I couldn't open my mouth because I was like the nature of the deal in which that I was living in this place. Like they moved me from Darwin, where I was living, to go and live in Wollongong, and so I had to stay there for X amount of time. And I just remember thinking like, this is so weird. Like I've never been like trapped almost in this place where something just doesn't feel right. And I felt so powerless, like helpless and really just unsure. Like I had this paralysis of like, I don't actually know what I could do in this situation, because no one's being super horrible to me. I can't report it to anyone, but I also don't feel okay. It was really strange because for me, when I stopped and actually let myself be still, like I was standing there watching these waves crash in, I was suddenly face to face with something really uncomfortable. And I've come to realize that back then I was in a toxic workplace, the kind of place where your soul just slowly gets chipped away and people force you to do some pretty horrible things that you just like have absolutely no concept of like, why am I doing this? I'm just getting forced to do it. Not that they are like super horrible. There's not like any sexual harassment or anything, but it was very much like, I don't understand why I have to do this now. Why can't we get someone else to do this? It was such a strange thing. I couldn't walk out. I had to stay. So instead, I numbed, right? Like I filled my calendar. I did a fitness challenge. I started a podcast. I went out as much as I could. I was going for brunch. I was going out every weekend. I chased the productivity, the busyness, the doing of all the things, not because I love being busy, but because it helped me avoid this like realization, maybe the grief of knowing that I wasn't okay, that where I was, like I'm just having to endure this terrible situation. And honestly, this is not an uncommon situation. Like if you're going through something where you are just super busy because you're unsure about how to live your life, but you're just busy doing the things, you are not alone, my friend. The science of why doing nothing can feel triggering is like there's this thing about hypervigilance and the nervous system, right? People who live in chronic stress or like emotional suppression. I was suppressing a lot of this fear and unsureness, like the panic and the helplessness and the powerlessness. I was suppressing it, right? It almost like rewires our nervous system for survival because we're suppressing the fear and we're not choosing to feel these things, and we're not allowing ourselves to express any sort of like fear, emotions, powerlessness. And when we are in this survival state and we're not resting, things get quiet when we're resting because the body's so used to creating the adrenaline of this like low amount of stress, but it's enough stress to make us feel like I need to get out of this situation, but obviously I can't. If you're anything like me, the body panics. Not because, like I'm in a very unsafe place and I need to like run away, because that's what the nervous system is designed to do, right? Like back in the primal days, back into like caveman and hunting saber-toothed tiger days, basically, if we're hunting and we come to a situation where there's a tiger, our body is going to go ding, 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 alarm bells. We are in an unsafe situation. Let's pump this person full of adrenaline so they can either run the hell away from the tiger or fight the tiger. It's called fight or flight. And back in those days, we did that. And it was like the energy that's being created, the adrenaline, we're running, we're getting out of the situation, we are expelling all that energy. Or we're fighting and we're fighting for our lives, we're expelling that energy. But because our lives have been evolved to not have to face any of this like apparent actual safety dangers, but our bodies are still having these responses, which is that fight or flight situation, to things that aren't necessarily deeply unsafe, but our nervous system and our brains are feeling like we're unsafe, like I was in this toxic work environment, but I couldn't do anything about it. I'm just suppressing. I'm not allowing myself to have those emotions, to feel any of those emotions, to like use any of this energy that my body's creating, this adrenaline when we're in that fight or flight situation. And my body was completely in fight or flight. I couldn't stop, because when I stop, my body's going like, what are you doing? Why are you stopping? We are unsafe. We need to get the hell out of here. And so that stillness felt not just unfamiliar, but like super unsafe. And it was like, I can't be stopping. I can't stop, because if I stop, then I'm going to essentially power down because I'm in this survival mode. And that productivity numbing loop, right? The staying busy, it's activating the dopamine, it's activating the adrenaline, it's keeping us distracted from the emotional processing of the current situation, which is what I was definitely doing. And it's also become a socially acceptable way of self-medicating. You might not be someone who's on the meds, but if you're a high-functioning individual like I was, I sometimes refer to myself as a recovering high-functioning person. That self-medicating, that like constant numbing of just going out and doing things and not having to sit down and sit and be with myself and my thoughts and the dwelling and actually dealing with that, because I was so stuck, like I couldn't actually move myself away. I couldn't quit the job. Like that stillness almost felt like vulnerability. It's almost like a trauma response. And if your nervous system has learned that idleness leads to pain or like emotional neglect, criticism, abuse, it is no doubt going to resist rest as a form of protection, because there's something about rest and digest. Like you've got the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, right? Parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for the rest and digest state, and the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the fight or flight state. If you are constantly in fight or flight, you cannot rest and digest. You need to switch one off. They don't work together. So one of them needs to be off while the other one is going. So when you're in that high stress, trauma mode, enduring the pain, enduring the whatever the situation that's going on, your sympathetic nervous system is going in overdrive. It's creating the adrenaline. And that's why things like breath work are really freaking cool, to turn the trauma response off, to turn the fight or flight state off, the sympathetic nervous system, put it down, and activating that rest and digest state, the parasympathetic nervous system, activating the vagus nerve, telling the body and the brain that we are safe, coming to these places of safe stillness, which is a breathwork session, which is, like a yoga session where you can feel like you can actually stop and slow down. You don't necessarily have to fully be still, particularly with breathing and breathing techniques and breath work. That's what I really like about it. When you are still breathing, you're still aware, you're still conscious, you're still in that doing mode, but it almost has that, like, because you're focusing on the one thing, it allows the body to really stop and let go. It's like that. The mechanism of meditation is when you find that your mind is wandering, you bring it back to the breath, or you bring it back to the fact that you are meditating, because that focusing on that, just slowing down in the stillness, allows your nervous system to go, all right, we don't actually have to fight or flight, because we're not actually unsafe here. There's no saber-toothed tiger coming to get us. We're just in this state where there's stresses of normal life and we don't know how to deal with them. So by allowing ourselves to rest, and that's, it's almost like counterintuitive, because you're like, I need to rest, but resting feels unsafe. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're broken. It could be just that your body is associating the stillness with the discomfort, with the facing the realness, the truth that is within your life. And if you were anything like me, you were filling your days just to avoid that one big truth that's whispering underneath it all. Well, my love, you need to face it, but you 100% are not alone. And know that there are people who want to support you. And if you feel like you don't have a support network, well, this is where it comes in, right? Like, I have been working and building, like holding, facilitating safe spaces for stillness, for breathing and breath work. I created this beautiful sacred container, which is going to help you understand that truth and connect in deeper with your body. It's something that I'm so proud of. There's different modules every week. It's like a 12-week journey. I love it. And it's something that if you need more support, I'm sure that there are people out there in your life that you feel you can talk to about any of this. But if you don't, I'm here. Head on over to the link in the description for pairing mode, which is the sacred container where I can support you. But I urge you to try this and find someone to tell this stuff to as well. So take 5 minutes today to do nothing on purpose. Like, if you've been avoiding the whole stillness thing, my love, the only thing that you can do is to go towards it and take the time to be still. And set yourself a timer on your phone or whatever, but just do nothing on purpose. Go for a walk without your headphones. Maybe sit and free write, or even just lie on the couch and intentionally leave your phone in another room. Set the timer, leave it in the other room, go sit down on the couch and just sit and see what comes up. But the twist here is to bring compassion into the stillness. Maybe put your hand on your heart, tell yourself it's okay to stop. I'm safe here now. Because you need to regulate your nervous system. And by telling yourself you are safe, it actually does wonders. And once you do that, I want you to watch what arises. Is it boredom? Is it guilt? Maybe it's sadness. Whatever comes up, there is absolute gold in it. That is your nervous system showing you where it needs love, where it needs work, not hustle, not doing. And I urge you to take note of what comes up. Either write it down, tell it to a safe person, and see if you can, maybe on a different day, have another crack at this whole stillness thing. Then see what comes up again. And if something similar comes up, then this pattern can start to show you things about your life that maybe you need to change, that you definitely need to address and at least put more of your attention towards. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And if it feels scary and you're a little bit unsure, that's okay. It is okay to feel unsure, but it is not okay in my mind to not do anything about it. And if you are in a situation where you couldn't do anything about it, you can always at least talk about it. Talk to me, talk to your safe person, head to the link in my description and, leave your details. There's a wait list going at the moment, but if it's something that you feel you definitely need to talk to someone about, and I am that person, chuck me a message, leave a comment and honestly say, hey, I've got some stuff that I want to talk to you about. How do I do that? I would love to be able to talk to you about that. And we're going to make it happen. We're going to facilitate it. This moment right here, the one where you're doing nothing, it might be that exact moment where something starts to feel real and you start to be able to heal that place. So if this landed for you, I would love for you to share below what happens when you stop doing, what comes up in that stillness, or Tiff, I need to speak to you. All of those things, leave me a comment, let me know, because sometimes we stay busy not because we're productive, but because we're afraid of what the stillness might say. And I urge you to walk towards what that stillness is telling you, because there's a reason that it's saying whatever it is saying to you.